everyone, this is Hazard Creator. I'm here with 2 Point Hospital to talk about something which has become everyone's biggest problem, the GP's offices lines. As you can see, I have a hospital here with this very problem. I have a line of 10 here, a line of 9, 16, the list goes on. So in this video, I will address how to solve these problems and test a few strategies that have been going around on Reddit and Steam and see how they work out. I have 5 basic strategies: layout, staff training, room efficiency, high priority rooms, and micromanaging. Before we start, we need to understand the process of diagnosis. When a patient enters the hospital, they'll go straight to reception, where they will be sent to a GP's office. The doctor will talk and examine the patient. Their diagnosis bar will go up a little bit, and they will be sent for further diagnosis in another room. When a patient enters the hospital, they'll go straight to reception, like this guy over here, where they'll be sent to a GP's office. The doctor will talk and examine the patient. Their diagnosis bar over here will go up a certain amount, and they will be sent for further diagnosis in another room, like this guy over here. Okay? So let's say, like in this case, they are sent to general diagnosis. The nurse over there, here, will examine the patient, the bar will go up a little bit more, and then the patient will be sent back to GP. The GP will again examine the patient based on the new information. The bar will go up a little bit more, and the doctor will send them for more diagnosis somewhere else, let's say cardiology. This process will repeat, with the patient going back and forth from GP to diagnosis and back to GP until the bar reaches 100%. For this reason, each and every patient that comes into your hospital will go through GP multiple times, generating a backlog of patients and unending lines. So, how do we tackle this issue? Well, first, let's think about our layout. If the patients are coming and going from diagnosis and GPs, it stands to reason that these rooms should be close together. As you can see, my main building is pretty much separated like this, except for the pharmacy, which is a treatment room. So let's change the pharmacy to another building and build an extra diagnosis room in its place. When I built this hospital, I hadn't researched a few rooms that I now have, so I'll build the fluid analysis in its places. Alright, now I have GPs, psychiatry, and diagnosis all in one building. If this isn't enough, I'll expand it to the next building and shuffle rooms around to get a more efficient layout. But for now, I'll try to work with this. Along the same line, we also need to think about our patients' needs. We need food, water, leisure, and toilets. We can't have them running all over hospital grounds to fulfill these needs. We need to provide all of these necessary tools as close to GPs and diagnosis as possible. A toilet, large enough all of them, and large enough hallways and waiting rooms for them to walk around without bumping into each other, is what we should go for here. For now, I'll just leave it like this. Alright, so since now we have a layout that will lower walking time, let's think about our staff. Our main goal is to get the patient to 100% diagnosis as fast as possible, with as few trips as possible between GPs and diagnosis rooms.
Maintenance announcement. Bins will become full.
For this, the better trained your doctors and nurses are, the faster the bar will go up. So make sure to have a large enough training room and train your GPs to have a high GP skill and nurses to have a high diagnosis skill. Let's see how we're going. Okay, 2 levels of general practice, a level of diagnosis.
Doctor to research, please.
A level of diagnostics. A level of diagnostics. Diagnostics, 2 levels of psychiatry. So, we need to make sure that we have a large enough training room to train our GPs and to have high GP skills and nurses to have high diagnostic skills. You can see their total skill in their stats. As you can see, this doctor, which is just a junior doctor, untrained, only has 90% diagnostic skills. While this doctor, with 2 GPs training, has 130% diagnostic skills. Okay, so these numbers will make a difference in the long run. The larger the number is, the more efficient that staff member is. So you might also want to consider training them motivation and stamina to increase their speed and lower the frequency which they need breaks. I have a training room in this hospital, which I have used to train some of the staff up to the skills which they are now. Okay, we can train them up even further. But for now, let's work with this, and later on, after we tried all these steps, we will train them further if necessary. Okay, so with the staff training in mind, I can manage their jobs in the staff screen to make sure I'm using them in rooms they are trained for using. We click here. First, let's go to the doctor's job assignment. You can see that doctors trained in GPs will work in GP. Doctors trained in psychiatry will work in psychiatry. And so forth. The same will go for the nurses. Okay? So if they're training treatment, they will stay in treatment rooms. If they're training diagnosis, they will train in diagnosis rooms and so forth. Besides increasing the diagnostic skills of your staff, you can increase the efficiency of your rooms by placing objects. That's our third item in our list. Once you've learned enough kudosh, you can spend them to buy special items. If you go to each individual room, click on items, you will see a few options of items to purchase using kudosh. Over here, I already purchased some of them, like the medicine tablets. You can see that they will give a boost to diagnosis power, and treatment power, and different rooms will have different objects to give them bonus. For example, on training rooms, encyclopedia bookcases will increase training speeds. You can place as many as you'd like, there is no limit, but I usually prefer to limit them to a reasonable number, but it's up to you if you want to fill them up with bonus objects. Let's do this. Okay, next up on our list is prioritizing room. If you click on a room, you will see a series of buttons at the bottom of the screen, and one of them reads
Maintenance
Hi.
announcement. Toilets
Click on
need
that to
routine
make the room
servicing.
high priority. This means that every time a nurse or doctor leaves that room to go on break, they are immediately replaced by another one, either unoccupied or working somewhere else. That is a lower priority. This way, our GPs and psychiatry rooms are always being worked by doctors and will not go empty every time someone goes on a break.
Why, only the other day my chauffeur took the wrong turn and we ended up on the edges of Tumbleweed. I escaped unharmed from this
Like so.
bracing encounter and rather enjoyed the color of the trees.
Okay, the last item on our list is micromanaging. It's a bit painful to do, and I wish there were a button to simply do this automatically, but unfortunately there isn't one.
Nurse to the
At
ward,
least not yet,
please.
anyway. So, we have to do it manually, and it's a very time-consuming job. I find myself just doing this whenever I don't have anything to do. Once a patient's bar fills up to 100%, they will still need to go back to GP one last time before they ascend to treatment. This is completely pointless and only fills up GP's line with people who can just go directly to treatment and be cured of just die already. The only way to skip this process is by finding each and every patient in your hospital that meets these criteria and manually telling them to go to treatment. It's a painful, slow process, but it's really efficient in unclogging GP's lines. To do this, we need to go to our patient list and click on diagnosis to sort them out by how full their diagnosis bar is. These ones at the top have just arrived to our hospital, but if you scroll down, you will see a huge list of patients lining up for GP and full diagnosis bars. Like here.
Doctor wanted in
So,
research.
click on each of them and tell them to just go to treatment already. Using this button. Oops. Here you go. So, he went from needing diagnosis to inflated ego, going to psychiatry. If the button isn't there, it's because the patient is inside the room and you will have to wait until they leave for it to show up. Just move on to the next and keep doing that until you get rid of this access. You can find a percentage that you feel comfortable with and send all the patients above that straight for treatment. I prefer sticking to around 80%, but feel free to experiment with that. Let's do this and see how it goes.
You want to experience all the
Alright, so building 2 new GPs, 1 extra psychiatry room, we managed to get our numbers significantly down. Now our psychiatry
Doctor
is
required.
still an issue, we will have to work on that, but at least with GPs, we've sorted out a little bit. We can lower these numbers with more training, expanding our diagnosis and GP and psychiatry, keep on micromanaging patients, and just generally waiting for all of this to take effect. Okay, after a while playing, I managed to come to this. We started off with 4 GPs with a line of 10 and a psychiatry with a line of 16. Now, I am at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 GPs with a line that is lower than 5. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, most of them with little to no lines. Now psychiatry is still an issue. I built another one here, another one here, but we still have a long line, and to make things better, I ended up accepting a few emergency patients for psychiatry without realizing it. But I hope this was informative. Let me know in the comments if any of these strategies worked out for you. If you have anything different to add, and if you like this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more. Thank you very much, and see you next time.